This is a transmission from the archives.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back, Master Archivist Watch Along. This is Andor Season 2, Episode 11, and we are in the final stretch here. I want to say, number one, I want to thank everyone, because we are 11 episodes in. Thank you for the support through this series. I hope everyone's enjoyed it so far. I think, it's been good. I mean, doing all these episodes over the past few days, honestly, it's been pretty fun, especially some of the days we're doing, 3 episodes in a row and whatnot. It's really it's like its own little event. It's not too often a show comes up that I really will sit down and binge the entire thing. But with that being said, this has been, and I know a lot of people have been saying it, one of the best Star Wars shows I've ever watched. Arguably, it is just one of the best shows ever that I've watched. And, I mean, last episode, over the past few episodes, Gorman Massacre, everything with Mon Mothma, and then Luthen Rail, which really was heartbreaking in the last episode. Great episode. Clea's backstory, Luthen's backstory, how they're intertwined, and really just the kind of mercy killing, I suppose, of Luthen Rail. Really, breaks my heart. Really sad. Luthen was a tough character. He really also was difficult, lack of a better word. The goal to always justify the means, and then seeing, he served in the Imperial Army and, everything. He's just a complex man, and that's one of the best parts about the character and everything that we've seen so far is how complex he is. So, losing character, and I don't know what's going to happen to Clea. I'd like to see maybe a little more from her in these last 2 episodes. But without further ado, let's kind of get into that. This is Andor Season 2, Episode 11. There you go. Oh, yeah, Bix left as well. I breezed over that one. Yeah, stuff with Bix, that was also very heartbreaking. Tough episodes, man. Tough episodes. Great episodes. Tough on the emotions, though, Here you go. Yeah, I thought this was crazy. All the stuff here with Luthen and Daedra. Daedra really... You know what? I honestly thought it was kind of going to be... I kind of thought she was just going to be incapable, I suppose would be a nice way to say it. And just that, pulling up, just laying all the cards on the table, and Luthen's like, yeah, alright, how's this? It's insane play. Yeah, Lonnie. I miss Lonnie. Lonnie. It's my favorite whenever Luthen had to address him. Lonnie. Also, ISB in armor. Really awesome. Hmm. That's the thing everyone brings up. Like I said, Luthen's a complex character. He cared. Even it's that, oh, am I your daughter now? When it's useful. Even this last man's life, last man's life still helps. Oh yeah, and that's right. We do have K2SO. Now fully active. I like this. The droid has manners. Perfect. Alright, here you go. Lucasfilm Ltd logo. Shout out Lucasfilms. Okay, cool. We got our logos here. Is my boy in here? Where is he? B2? Yeah. Where's the B2 EMO update? I honestly thought, this is my theory, was I thought they were going to, something would happen to B2 and they would incorporate him to K2SO. That was my honest thought. Because to me, I was like, oh, it kind of makes sense. His protection of Cassian, his personability with him, I thought would make sense. Um, and I thought maybe too, being in a more, because B2 EMO is kind of clunky in terms of builds, and something a little more versatile like K2 I thought was gonna be the trick, but I guess not. You think that SB is gonna look at this and like, how we let this happen? This is embarrassing. Huh, nice. Oh, look at that. I think it's a team of 3. Sorry, just the mic. Ooh. Oh. Mmm. Tyrannical government, man. That's what happens. I really do get a kick about like the ISB and the armor. That the Black Series figure that went up for pre-order. I think like a week or two ago. I haven't pre-ordered yet, but I'm definitely it's going top of the list right now. Director Krennic. Seeing little bits and pieces from the scene. Sorry. Hey, he said the line. Claw. Good word. I think it was like about ooh. Those are 2 words. Mmm. Oh. Let's see. What's the word, Krennic? Look at that. Edu. Oh. I know that's the meme I've seen a lot. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, wow. Ah. Whoa. Dude, insane. Hmm. Uh-huh. Hmm. What's all this? Oh, Clea. Okay. I give them credit. Okay. I'm assuming kind of blaster or communication device. Those look like cables, honestly. Hmm. Hmm. Being around Luthen this long, definitely I see it's paid off. I wonder if there's like a contingency plan type thing for. Oh, no way. Amazing. Good use of beeping there. So you think that's good or bad? On one hand, it is just her. On the other hand, it's just her. Oh, nice. Morse code. Oh, I wonder. Maybe she's sending out what Luthen told her. Because it's interesting, these are all taking place, it's like no break in between, no time skip or anything, it's in a sequence here. I saw a meme today. Really made me laugh. It's like rebel engineers reportedly welding X-wings for 24 hours. Someone's like, yeah, why are they always busy like that? It's kind of a nice fit, Wilma, I'm not gonna lie. Got a Luke Skywalker bright orange vest. Oh, I see. Interesting. People always be like, oh, I'm afraid of AI. This is about to be me and my robot, man. I swear. What are they playing? I've really been on a kick for the past couple months of learning Star Wars card games. I would love to get something together. Like a Sabak team or something. Ooh. Alright, it's a good lesson learned. It's kind of sad now to think about it too. I'm like, it's gonna lead right into Rogue One. And I'm like, unless there's a time skip, they only got like a few days with each other. They're having a blast. Yeah, the actress who plays Dedra Meero, I gotta say, definitely one of my favorites. I just saw there's another show she was in. Funny enough, my mom was watching. I got done filming one of these watch-alongs. I walk out and I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I was just telling her, I'm like, you should watch this show Andor. It's pretty good. And then I walk down there, I'm looking, I'm like, wait, she's from the show. Like, here. This guy just always reminds me of Jake Gyllenhaal. Ooh. Mm. Mm. I wonder when we're getting the Andor cut, like the expanded cut here. We can get the cut the scene in of Krennic bringing Galen back. That whole opening scene in Rogue One. Cut back to this. Oh, and also after Mon Mothma, cuts the Rebels episode. Those are the kind of cuts that I really enjoy. We'll be doing some watch-alongs of extended cut. Like I know there's supposed to be like a real 5-hour cut of episode 3, but interesting that there is already a 4-hour cut when you put in the Clone Wars stuff. I think the video games are included too. I forget. Mm. Mm. Do you enjoy K2? Gonk Droid! Wonderful. Let's see them back. Who's this? Mm. Yeah, here's. Where'd you go? Open. Hmm. Sorry. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Ooh. Let's see. I guess they're trying to. Yeah, there it is. Huh. Alright, that's pretty good. She's like, oh, it's amazing. Gosh, she's like, alright, not time. That was pretty good. Oh, cool. His memory. It's actually, I think that's really neat that he actually has his old memories. I really enjoy the snub nose blaster. Not gonna lie. See, I love the U-Wing. It's one of the ships are just great designs, you know? Ooh, Lambda class shuttle. No? No. Oh, look at that. My bad. Based off the first thing, I'm like, yeah, all right. Nice to see those back. Sick close-ups. This is what I've been waiting for. Talk time what? I saw a meme about that guy too. ISB crackdowns are crazy, man. Great outfits, man. What's all this? Oh no, indeed. You know, you ever see this and just think about Star Wars Underworlds? Think what we could have had, you know? I know we have Tales of the Underworld just came out, but I feel like maybe that should be a video. I should go back over that. Oh, interesting. Uh, Oh, so I guess they're sending the signal and they're tracking. Hmm. Oh, Cassie got a haircut. I really like her, so I hope, we already lost Luthen. I'm so sorry, keep moving. Like the one guy with the goggles. He's chilling. Oh. Dude, they really are vicious, man. Luthen Rail causes local elderly to get swatted. Hmm. Was that it? Really? Ah. Oh, they're really pulling the two-parter like that. All right. Ah. All right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. All right, so I got to say, I have thoroughly I don't know, I guess what I want to say is like the interrogation stuff really shook me a little bit cuz like I feel like we see intensity from director Krennic in Rogue One, but I will say seeing it here is way different. I'm like, "Oh my god." I was like, "This guy, ruthless." And I get it because this energy project, is a huge importance to Palpatine, and it feels like, especially under the Disney umbrella, those are the two things I feel like they've really been focusing on is all the stuff for Palpatine, all the important projects that he's had. So we do have cloning. Obviously, it's been a big thing. Bad Batch, obviously being like one of the more notable things, is the testing in the cloning process. What's it? No, Battlefront 2. And it went on about it, and things like that. I think rather neat. And then from Rogue One, and obviously now with Andor and everything, and especially the 2 seasons, I think have been great for expanding upon the Death Star's creation. Because you have season 1 when he's on Narkita 5, and he's building parts to the Death Star, I thought was a really crazy thing. Like, it makes sense in a way of why they're not letting anyone go. They're just recycling them inside the prisons. Is because, this is a huge project, and that is, unpaid labor. That it's like, oh, well, if we let them serve their sentences and leave, it's gonna basically create a slow in production. Or, as the ISB have stated, it's gonna just have this increase in arrest and processing and all. So it's either it's gonna back up the system, but not increase production. If that makes sense, They literally, because they're saying we have more prison we can process. It leads to something like that, and then you get now with Gorman. They're like, look, we need the resources on Gorman, and you figure there's already impure occupation on Ilum as well for mining out the Kyber, which we'll see. That becomes Starkiller Base, which I thought, honestly, I know some people weren't a fan of it. They didn't like the idea. Obviously, it was just creating another Death Star. I think it's more interesting in the fact that it's like, all right, we mined it so much for the first Death Star. Once we had that, we kind of knew what it took to make it. So they started making the second Death Star, which I always find it funny, just as like a little thing. Just when they always have to label it, it's always Death Star 2. I don't know why, like, having the sequel title to it, calling it the second Death Star, it's another Death Star. It's almost like, having a Imperial Star Destroyer. It's just like it's a type of system, type of ship, battle station, whatever you want to call it, but it's no moon. You wanna do something like that. I think it's interesting. When you just say Death Star 2, I don't know why, it just seems like corny to me. It's kind of funny though. So, then they end up taking Ilum, and they're like, all right, we're not gonna mine anymore. Make it into a battle station. And it's just way easier. It's like, well, we have the stuff here. We have the kyber crystals here. Bring the rest of the materials, build around this whole thing. And I find it cool that over different games and stuff, you can see different games and media. You can see them mining out that center of then what becomes Starkiller Base. Those are the things that, and I know people aren't too big on it, because they're like, oh, they're just retroactively trying to make the sequels better. That is, in my opinion, it's been like a Star Wars thing for a while, is retroactively fixing things. Prime example, people didn't like episodes 1, 2, and 3. And there was a lot to discuss and talk about and build upon. Episodes 2 and 3, we got the Clone Wars. Fills in that, And you can't tell me that ain't peak. Between episodes 3 and 4, we got Rebels. We have Rogue One. We now have Andor. Obviously, the thing is, they always say, like, Disney's big on between, 3 and 4. We have things like that, which I think is pretty neat, But, in a way, I digress there. A lot of people usually are pretty bummed about that. This Andor and Rogue One it's a rewritten story. It was done with what was it? Where am I tripping? Kyle Katarn got the Death Star plans originally. Then that was remade into, what was a PSP game? You literally played as a Twi'lek named Rihanna, who then went and stole Death Star plans, and then they now make it into Rogue One. So it's a 3-time rewritten story. Now, depending on where you sit with Legends, I feel like the ranking is you're either putting Kyle Katarn or Cassian as, number 1 on this list here. Whoever else takes the subsequent. And then 3 is probably going to be Rihanna. And, I didn't play that game, so that's probably going to be somewhere on the list one day. Maybe we'll get, a modded PSP and play it. Something with, a output so I could record it. unless they have it on any other system. But things like that, I think is rather interesting. They always try to, they can always go back and rewrite a story, and that's what I feel like this is. They take Rogue One, I say it's the wildcard pick because the characters are like, oh man, yeah, I think they're pretty neat, I think they're cool, and I kind of leave it at that. Then it turns to this where it's like, yeah, they're pretty cool, but also great backstories. Oh man, yeah, it is, At least with Cassian, where you got that in K2SO, they're connected and all. Obviously, we don't come across, though I do actually own the book. I think it's called Guardians of the Wills, and it's a Baze and Chirrut backstory. So things like that, you can always retroactively add to characters, and Andor does that really well. And to my understanding, this will lead into literally moments into Rogue One. And I think this is set up pretty well, especially working with Luthen. Because it feels like, because season 1 is Cassian obviously, he was looking for his sister and already lived in, I feel like, the more darker part of societies, I guess is what I would like to say. Like a thief kind of thing, then it feels like he's just kind of getting his traction. He meets up with Luthen, and it's like, yeah, okay, you know what? Yeah, I need the money, then I can get us out of here. It's like, all right, cool. You don't seem to have much of a care for the Empire, but also, you seem to be kind of slimy, I guess. So, then he goes with Luthen. Obviously, then he was living the lap of luxury, all his credits stored, and, he gets wrongfully accused and processed because they think he's part of a group committing crime and stuff. Narkita 5 escapes, then from there, back to Ferrix, riot on Ferrix there. But then season 2, now he is more fleshed out. You see that he's really living the life of the spy and, doing all his work for Luthen. So much so, when he's going into Gorman, at the end, after he assesses the Gorman front, Luthen's like, yeah, who was there? And he's like, oh, yeah, my name was this. And I was like, oh, okay. And it's like, okay, so he didn't need that kind of lead. He did the second time around. The first time, it's like, yeah, just trust you to go out there and do it. Well established as a spy, as this, a thespian, essentially. So, it's pretty cool. You see that he's, more fitted to the role, and I think that's important, because when you meet him in Rogue One, I've always said this, it was one of the earlier times, or I would argue might be one of the first times, I ever really thought about the Rebels doing questionable things to secure their future. Because you see Cassian, and the guy's like, I can't climb my arm. He's like, it's okay, we're going to get out of this. Pew! Shoots the guy. And, I remember seeing that in the theater. I'm like, oh my god, this is a bad guy. And you see it all play out, and then you really start thinking, you're like, huh. Because it always felt like watching Luke, and also a lot of expanded stuff with Luke, every time he was out there doing something, it's like, you're meeting up with contacts, It's that, and then I feel like there's always a situation. A man always finds himself in a situation. It's always like, trying to think what a good way to describe it is. Like, something always happens where he's like, let that man go. It's a chivalrous Luke Skywalker, I guess. you have something like that, is the way I always saw Luke. And then you see someone like Cassian, and it's like, yeah, this guy couldn't get out. Instead of fighting this trooper, he's like, I'm getting out of here. It's like, and this guy's a leak if I don't, take him out now. I was so perplexed by that. But now seeing it, I'm like, okay, like I see how we got from point A to point B. He was doing, basically, he was stealing things and selling it. Then it turns into like, yeah, you know, now it's like, yeah, I'll take someone out if I have to. Whatever it means to secure this future. That's what the show I think has done really well, is filling that in. It's kind of like the Han Solo arc, right? Han Solo, when you meet him, he's a smuggler. He has a past. You meet Greedo, and that's why I always say, and I argue with everyone, the whole who shot first thing. I'm always like, Han shot first. I don't want to hear Greedo did it. Nothing. I know they edited it 4 or 5 times now at this point, but I always see a great character arc, because Solo was interesting, and I feel like it kind of wanted to go in that direction, and it felt like it also was banking on sequels. I really don't know, which not opposed. Solo's great. The standalone films for Star Wars were good. Anyone could argue that. But with Han, it goes from, he was doing this out of love. He wanted to get away. He was doing petty crime. I was actually just rewatching Solo like yesterday. In between filming these episodes, I was like, all right, I'm going to take a little break and just watching Solo. He's doing like petty crimes, and then obviously he runs into real criminals like Tobias Beckett. And it was like, okay, like I'll join you guys because I need to get back to Corellia. And, he ends up then, meeting up with Kira again because she's working with Dryden Voss. They go on a mission. She vouches for him. All that. She ends up betraying him at the end. And, then he's like, oh, yeah, I hear there's a job going on in Tatooine and stuff. And that's supposed to set up him working with Jabba, which we know how it goes. He worked for Jabba, ended up, he owed Jabba a lot of money because he was getting bored by Imperial, so he dumped all the spice or cargo, whatever he had. Ended up doing that, and then, episode 4, we run into that. And that's his arc. He owes Jabba money. That's why he helps the rebels. He ends up taking Luke and Obi-Wan. Obviously, he's not a bad guy, so he ends up returning to save Luke and help him, help the rebels at the, Death Star battle. He ends up, getting, he gets his, I never saw what he used the money on, to be honest. Something I should kind of look into. But, he ends up staying with the rebellion. And his whole thing, because he ran into the bounty hunter on Nar Shaddaa. Then, he ends up, it worked out because, the Empire's like, yeah, we need this guy captured. So the deal is, Boba's like, yeah, I'll take him in. Like, I'll get him. Lead you to, whatever you want to do with everyone else, I don't care. Let me take Han in. Cool. And, he became he was already famous bounty hunter, but then, top tier bounty hunter right there. Anyway, Han has that good character arc. You see he didn't want to do this stuff, because he's a good guy. Then he ends up taking on all these missions, and you're like, good guy doing bad things. So then when he shoots Greedo, to me, I'm like, character arc. He knows that life. He's been living it. But, it gives a good arc like that. But I digress. When it comes to Andor, this is nice. I feel like this has given that arc to him as well. And it's fully fleshed out. I think it's interesting. And with that being said, I'm excited to get into the last episode. In the meantime here, of course, I've been your host, Tima, the Master Archives. Thank you for tuning in. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're interested to see more of these videos as they come out through the year. And until next time, may the Force be with you.